Hello everyone, this is Duke Josh with Level Up Life, and I'm here with the Tower of Fantasy Guide Series, Episode 1. Today we're going to be going over the dailies and weeklies in Tower of Fantasy to make sure that you get the most out of your playtime. So first off, we're going to be talking about daily bounties. So if you go on over to this Double Cross Swords tab, we're going to find most of the things that we need to do daily and weekly in this tab, so make sure you read through it at your own leisure. So first off, we're going to go over onto daily bounties. As you can see, I've already completed mine for the day, but if you go ahead and click on go, it will bring up this tab here. So it's going to be 4 randomly assigned bounties that you need to complete. Usually these are going to be fighting a mob or turning in some sort of resource in this specific interface in order to claim the mission. As you can see, the rewards for these are quite good, so you do want to make sure that you complete these so you get a daily free gold nucleus and 3 black nucleus. This is going to make sure that as a free-to-play player, you get as many pulls on the gacha banners as possible. Also, when you do complete these, you do get a certain number of points, which then level up this right here, and that can give you additional rewards. Next, we're going to talk about Mia's Kitchen. This is a mode where you basically tell Mia to cook for you. As you can see, I still have one. I'm not going to do it now, but it does give you a variety of different rewards, such as gold, experience, weapon, and matrixy upgrade materials. One thing to note about Mia's Kitchen is if you do not use all of your daily entries, you get 3, and they do recharge, I believe. You do get rewarded at reset for the ones you did not use. However, the rewards are slightly less than if you had actually done them. You also do get valuable buffs. They are random, unfortunately, so you can try your luck by using them to get a buff that works for your characters. Next, we're going to talk about probably the most important thing in Tower Fantasy, and that is the vitality or stamina system. You want to make sure that you use this every single day. I shouldn't really have to. Anyone that's played a gacha game knows that you kind of need to use the stamina that they give you, right? The refresh rate in Tower Fantasy is pretty slow, so you're really only going to be doing this once, maybe twice a day if you're playing a lot. We're going to go through each of these though. So first up is going to be Joint Operation. It does say it takes 90 vitality. However, something to note here is there are 3 chests, and each chest takes a certain number of vitality. Each one takes 30. So you don't actually have to claim any of them. A lot of people who want to do more joint operations will only claim the last chest. There was something noted that the last chest has the best chance to give good loot. However, through various playthroughs and playing in CN, I've noticed that all 3 of the chests do in fact give valuable loot. However, if you only claim the last chest, you can also get support points, which we'll talk about later in this video. Additionally, these are probably not going to be worth doing for most players, as you can get the gear that they provide in other various content throughout the game. Once we do hit level 50 and beyond, we can start getting gold level gear. Then it's going to be more worthwhile to spend your vitality in these joint operations. However, joint operations are also, group co-op content dungeons. They are quite fun, so if it's something that you enjoy, spend your vitality there. Next, we're going to talk about dimensional trials. This is probably the most useful place for you to use your vitality, especially initially, as it provides both matrixy and weapon upgrade materials. As you level up, you unlock additional difficulties. As you can see, the next one unlocks level 51, and these are selector boxes that you can utilize to get the materials that you want. You can choose between weapon and matrixy drills depending on what it is that you need to level up. That's the number one way to use vitality, I'd say. Next, and this is probably the second most important one, is going to be interstellar exploration. These can possibly be better than the dimensional rifts depending on what the drops are. So if I zoom out here, once you click go, these purple stargates are going to appear on your map. If you go ahead and click on one of these stargates, on the right here, it's going to tell you exactly what that stargate gives you. These rewards do change as you level up, and sometimes they give more rewards than others. Unfortunately, from this interface, you can't tell the rarity of the stargate, but you can kind of tell by looking at the rewards. I don't have any rare, quote-unquote, stargates to show you, as I didn't get them today. I just got these normal rarity ones. But sometimes the resources they give will be higher than other ones. So just go ahead and make sure to take a look at these before you spend your vitality if you do need weapon upgrade materials. And you get multitude of these. Something else to note is you can do these co-op, so you can ask your friends and say, hey, do you have a Stargate or Interstellar that, you know, has the specific material that you're looking for. One thing to note is that if you do this content, it's not a chest-based content. If you go in, it is going to use your vitality. So make sure that you actually want the resource that you're going in for. If you're out of vitality, you will get support points. Okay. Next, we have Omnium Beacons. These are probably the worst use of your vitality, unfortunately. If you really need to rip through your vitality quickly, go ahead and use all these. This is basically a treasure hunter mode that is going to... Oh, let me turn... There's a concert on set that's happening right now, so we're going to turn that down a bit. This is basically a treasure hunter mode that is going to allow you to set a beacon up in the world for other players to be able to find. If no one finds it after the time period has elapsed, you do get rewards based on how long it was sitting in the world, so it can be kind of fun, but I wouldn't recommend using your vitality on these, at least right now. And then lastly, space-time domains. Now, you are going to need gold, just like in every other game that has upgrade paths. We do run out of gold pretty quickly, and it gets quite expensive to level up weapons as we continue to progress through the game, so you might need to spend some of that vitality getting gold if you don't have enough to increase your weapons or your matrices, whatever it may be that you're upgrading. So this is the third way that I would spend your vitality. I would ignore omniums, and for the most part, ignore joint operations for at least the current state of the game that we're in now. If you're watching this at a later date and we are a higher level and you can get gold gear, it's more worthwhile to go, it is more worth to go for joints. Not necessarily more so than the other ones. That kind of depends where you are in your account and what you want to do, but just keep that in mind. So some of these two right here, Dimensional and Interstellar, are about equal. It depends on what rewards are available on the Interstellar as opposed to Dimensional. Dimensional, you can choose where you're going to get through boxes. Interstellar is random every day, but your friends may have what you need. All right, next we're going to talk about training. So if we go onto this challenge tab and go over to training, these are fun little mini games that rotate daily, and you can do 2 of them a day. So if you go to training, you can see these 2 right here, and these are the 2 different mini games that I can do each day. If you click go, it'll tell you where it's at on the map. Then you just have to travel to that point and get that mini game going. Now, this resource, I would say if you skip your training, it's not the biggest deal. The main thing that you're going to be buying from that shop is going to be gifts for your characters, and while that is important in the long run for making you as powerful as possible, missing some here or there or not doing them all that much is probably not really going to set your account back. However, the mini games are pretty fun in my own opinion, so I do like to do those every day. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is probably, again, one of the more important things in this game to do, and they're also quite fun. However, they are co-op, so I would recommend finding people that you like to play with and doing it with them rather than playing with random people, simply because these modes can be pretty difficult and might actually require cooperation. I know on the first day I did pug it with randoms, even though I did play in CN and I knew what they were about, and we didn't get all the rewards simply because they weren't strong enough. My teammates were not strong enough. So I would find people that you're friends with that, are able to push and consistently do damage, because these are essentially boss fights. So Frontier Clash is going to be available every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You get 1 entry. Those entries do stack, so if you wanted to do these every other day, you can do that. If you want to do them all at the end of the week, you can also do that. However, I would not let it overcap, as you're going to miss out on rewards. Frontier Clash basically is just going to be another way for you to get gear. It only drops gear and then other, various gear-related things. And Frontier Clash is going to be you fighting waves of enemies with your friends, and then every 4th wave you're going to fight a boss, which is why you do need adequate DPS, and these do get harder as you level up. So again, you want to make sure that your friends are strong enough so that you get all of the rewards, because it is a timed mode. Next, Void Rifts rotate with Frontier Clash. These are going to be available on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and just like Frontier Clash, you can stack these up and do them at the end of the week. These drop matrices, matrice pulls, and matrice upgrade materials. Basically what this mode is it's a boss fight with a mini dungeon before it, where you have to go around collecting buffs and getting keys so that you can then enter the boss fight. These bosses can be extremely difficult for some players. If you are not strong enough and you don't collect enough buffs within the map before you fight the boss, you can easily get wiped or not clear the boss in time. So again, I would not pug these. I would find friends that you like and, then go into the boss and then communicate with each other because you can trade the buffs around. All right, so after Void Rift and Frontier, we're going to go over to Crew. So as another daily, as you can see, you go over onto the Crew tab, you click on daily, it's pretty self-explanatory, and then you donate. As you can see, obviously I already have donated, and then you can click aid request so that people can then send you aid. This isn't really all that important unless you actually need this resource, but it does provide something. I think it attributes to, your week's donations or whatever it may be, but that second part isn't that important. Just make sure you do donate to your crew every day so that you can get enough resources and keep your crew leveled up. Additionally, my crew is recruiting. Get it? Recruiting. And if you would like to join us, just let me know. Message me in game, Discord, Twitch, whatever it may be, and I can get you in there. All right, then we're going to go on over to Cetus Island, where, as you can see, I already am. You're going to want to play the daily crane game. Now, I can't actually show you what the game looks like because I did already do this daily, but basically, it's a crane game that you've seen in an arcade. You can do this 3 times a day to get a gift for your character, and it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. The first couple times you try this, you may fail, but you do get 3 tries to get gifts, so you can get 3 gifts a day. Additionally, something to note here is there's really only one gift in this game that is worth getting. It's a purple, white, fox-looking thing. It's the highest rarity gift available in this minigame, and it has a big head, so it's actually pretty easy to grab. Just center your crane over it, click the button, and you should grab it. Next, we're going to want to go over, exit, we're going to want to go over to, as you can see, scrolling down to Banshees. You want to click on this space-time rift, the black market. You want to go here. There's an NPC here that resets daily that is going to give you a free gift. As you can see, I'm talking about gifts a lot for characters. There's multiple ways to get them, which is why if you're missing that training, it's not necessarily that important because these dailies are a little bit faster than doing those training mini games, or if you don't really like those. However, you are going to want to collect as many gifts as possible because there are a ton of traits, and each character has 2, which the second one is an upgrade of the first one. And they're just going to give you a little bit of passive power. So if we go on into this little encampment in Banshees, again, I've already done this daily, so I can't show you what it looks like, but we're going to want to talk to Hopkins right here. He will pop up 2 special boxes. You just select one. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but inside is going to be a present. Okay? And once you get that present, then you can give it to your characters and start leveling those traits. And the last daily that we're going to talk about, I'm going to have to teleport on over to... actually, I should have stayed on Cetus Island. Anyway, we'll go to Banshees. I've already searched this one today, but I'll just show you what things look like. Basically, there are things within the world that you can search and gain some type of reward. Usually, it's going to be some type of food, or it's going to be upgrade materials for your different mounts. Upgrading the mounts isn't really that important unless you want to unlock additional skins, but it is a way for free-to-play players to get the pull currency or the black crystals. So if you're running low on currency, you're trying to pull a character, maybe you want to start doing these so that you can get enough currency to level up your vehicles so that you can get those things. All right, so basically there's vending machines, there's trash cans, and all sorts of different items. Just walk up to items. Obviously, I already did this one for the day. So a search button would pop up right here specifically, and it would allow me to search this for an item. It gave me like blueberry soda last time I did it. They're not always gonna, areas usually have multiple. I don't really know where all of them are, but go ahead and do some exploration and you can find them. I do know that there are additional things to search over here in the Banshees Industrial Zone. There's like a little camp up here behind the port, and it's going to have a bunch of little things that you can search in there as well. All right. That is going to conclude dailies, however, so we're going to go on over to weeklies. So again, we go on to this cross swords tab, and the one that sticks out the most, it literally says weeklies. Just scroll through here, see what ones you want to do, and start working on your weeklies. It's a variety of different challenges. The more weekly, you get little rewards when you complete them, and then you get points towards completing this pass. Something to note, and this is super important, this pass is one of the only ways that you can get gold chips for unlocking loot from world bosses. So if you're not completing these weekly tasks, you're not going to be able to get loot or valuable loot from world bosses because, as you can see, you get gold chips every other time. These weeklies kind of finish themselves as long as you're actually playing the game, but make sure you get them done. If you don't, no world boss. And this is also the only way to level up the battle pass, which I'm not going to talk about because it's not really all that important as far as weeklies go. But you get points, as you can see, merit points to level up that battle pass. Next, additionally, as far as weekly tasks go back to the crew, and then this right here where it says crew mission. You can do 4 of these a week. Once you complete one, a new one will show up behind it. So if you don't like all the ones that, appear here, do one that you do like, a new one will rotate in after you complete it. So just make sure you do those every single week. It's pretty easy to do. Again, as long as you're actually playing the game, these should get completed. But that's going to allow you to not only get these rewards right here, where this is the crew honor points, but it's going to give the crew this currency, which allows you to level up the crew. And the higher your crew level, the more people can be in the crew, the more rewards you get. So make sure you're doing your weeklies there in the crew. Next, we're going to talk about world bosses. So this, again, isn't necessarily a weekly in that you can only do so many weekly. You can literally just farm world bosses nonstop, right? And you can get minor rewards from clearing them. However, you only do get 3 of those gold chips every single week in order to actually obtain valuable loot from world bosses. So what I would recommend is finding a world boss that you like the loot from. Now, the weapon is always going to be random, right? And obviously these are rare, okay? But each boss is going to have a different matrice that it can drop. Where, for instance, the flower boss in the first area on Astra drops the king matrices. If we go on over here to the crown area, Lucia is going to drop Shiro matrices. So make sure you look at the different world bosses, okay? And see which matrice set that you want to work for. And I would spend your weekly tokens on that boss only until you get the matrices that you want. Obviously, they're rare. It can take a long time. The higher level you are, the better chance you have of getting them. So keep that in mind as well. So if you wanted to save those gold tickets, you can do that too because they don't expire. Next, we go back to the swords, go on down to challenge, and this is probably one of the most important modes in Tower of Fantasy, and that's going to be the Bygone Phantasm. Now, technically, this isn't weekly in that you actually have to do this every week. You can just kind of let this sit. However, you do want to climb this as high as possible because weekly, if you click on this area where it says My Rank, and then it shows your rank or whatever, you go over to Team Ranking Reward, and it's going to tell you what rewards you get from being at that rank at the end of the week. So the higher you climb, the more rewards you get. It is kind of minor, right? So like, I'm number 88 in my thing yet because I haven't climbed yet this week. But if I get higher, let's say I get between 11 and 20, which is a significant jump from where I am now, I only get 4 more, gear upgrade materials. So it's not that big of a jump. So if you just want to kind of be lazy, you can kind of be lazy. But make sure you take a look at this every single week and climb if you do want additional rewards. But you can just see right here the rewards that you're going to get under my mouse. I think my cam might be blocking it, but you do want to make sure you click on this at least every week. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on valuable rewards, okay? Next is Wormhole. So Wormhole isn't weekly in that it resets weekly. As you can see, it's about to reset in 7 hours. This actually resets every 120 hours. So that's, like every 6 days or so? Not quite. It's every 5 days, I think. But you do want to make sure you do this because this is going to give you, again, this currency and other rewards that you can use to buy things out of the Crystal Dust Shop, which we'll talk about the shops in a second here. This is a pretty easy mode. I was able to clear all 3 levels of the Wormhole with 15k CP like a couple days ago, even though, recommended CP was much higher. One thing you want to note with Wormhole is that just make sure you're taking buffs that are going to increase your damage. One thing about Tower Fantasy is DPS is extremely important. So take the damage buffs. Anyway, if we go back out of there, we're going to move on to the gift shops. So we actually stay here in Banshees, okay? We go on over here to Claude. So this NPC is like in the middle of Banshees from the teleport zone, just run to the east or west a little bit. Claude is going to have a variety of different things. As you can see, I already bought all of them. It is quite expensive to buy out the shop. So if you don't have enough gold, skip out on some of these things like the, the vehicle upgrade materials. But he does have a variety of different gifts that you can buy to give your characters. If you're trying to maximize the friendship points for getting those traits, make sure you're buying these. You're not getting, you're not going to get a lot of points from these gifts, but every point counts because gifts are quote unquote semi-limited. Okay, so that is the gift shop that you want to make sure you check every single week in order to get all of those gifts. And then the last thing on this list for weeklies is going to be the commissary. So the commissary is obviously the in-game shop that is not monetary based, but there's a variety of different stores here, and there's a couple things that I want to note with these shops. First off is going to be the Crystal Dust store. So this currency is going to be gained from Wormhole and then doing activities that use Vitality. The main thing you want to buy from this shop, and you want to make sure you buy this every single week and buy it out, are going to be these booster modules and these advancement modules. So these are going to make sure that you have the maximum amount of resources available for enhancing your gear, and that is incredibly important if you want to get as strong as possible in Tower of Fantasy. Additionally, we have the weapon store, matrix store, crew store. These seem to rotate every single week, these the available SSRs. So I would keep an eye on the relics that are available here. If there's a specific one that you're trying to level up, as they do have different advancement levels and they provide passive bonuses, even if they're not equipped. Just look through here. If there's one you're trying to level up, use your currency. As you can see, my crew is not level 2, so there's other things you can buy in here, but the store doesn't necessarily have a lot of things that you need. I think these are probably the most important thing in here. Not really a weekly, but do check it, right? Because I do think these reset weekly. All right, finally though, we're going to talk about the support store and support points. Support points are basically a currency that you get after you are out of Vitality by running things that require Vitality, or by doing like world bosses and things of that nature, like Void Rifts, World Boss, Frontier Clash, all those different things that you can do with other people in our co-op modes. You're going to get support currency to spend in this shop. Now, most of the things in this shop you can pretty much ignore unless you really want them. As you can see, you have a title, you can get a chat bubble, and you can get some gold and little things to upgrade, whatever it may be. But most of the stuff can be ignored. The two main things that you want to buy in this shop, and you want to buy them every single week, are going to be these joint supply chips, because these are going to increase the rarity of the drops that you get in joint operation, or at least the chance for rare drops. So you want to have as many of these as possible. That way, when you're farming for gold equipment and you're farming for the matrices that are available in the different joint operations, you have the best chance of getting it. Next, you're going to be able to buy 10 black nucleus every single week, and it's going to be 3,000 currency. So you want to buy these out, you want to buy the chips out. You are limited to 1,500 supply currency a day. That is the cap of gaining it. Most modes are going to give you 150 support currency every time you complete it when you're out of Vitality. If you do things like Void Rift or Frontier Clash, you're going to get a little bit more because they do take a little bit longer. But the easiest way to get this currency is probably doing Dimensional Rifts after you're out of Vitality. Each one only takes about a minute or two. You can cap your Vitality or cap your support points super quickly. So that is what I would recommend. And again, this is the point store. This doesn't really matter, but this is where you spend your training points. You can get some, some upgrade materials and some gifts, whatever it is that you need. But this one's kind of skippable. As you can see, I actually spent all mine. But make sure you are doing your support limit daily, and then buying these things in the shop. You can stack this currency, it doesn't go anywhere, so if you're kind of lazy one day, it's fine. But I think that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If there's anything that I missed, go and leave a comment down below. And just a side note, I do stream almost every day on Twitch at twitch.tv/DukeJosh, so if you have any questions, go and find me there. And until next time, have a good day, guys.